2023 calendar year. The competition is pretty tight for the end of the year awards, and you can find everybody's rankings on the webpage. I will not update those after tonight's competition. You're going to have to wait until the award ceremony to find out whether or not you're a winner, and we'll let you all know. But it appears, looking at the submissions for this evening, that a lot of people brought their A game and they held on to this final competition of the year to submit their best images and try and seal their place. So we'll see how it goes. So I think for PPSDC, our awards mean a little bit more because of the quality of the jurors that we've brought in for our judging panels. And tonight's exceptional panel is absolutely fitting finale to this year. We have three incredible judges, and I will introduce them to you. Our first juror is Ken Mendoza. He's an international award-winning wedding photographer specializing in producing fine art wedding photography on the actual wedding day. All of his awards feature real couples on their wedding day. His accolades and awards include a PPA Masters of Wedding Photography award this past year, Master of WPPI Icon Awards, a member of the 2022 Team USA World Photographic Cup and PPA Grand Imaging Awards finalist, Cosmos Award Elite Status, Asia WPA Elite Status, and WPE Professional and Expert Status. In the last 5 years, Ken has been awarded over 100 international photography awards, and in addition to judging competition images, mentors photography students in posing, lighting, and photography workflows. Our second juror is Duane Murphy, the owner of Great American Portraits in Orange County, where he has spent over 10 years encouraging clients to celebrate the stories of their relationships, making the world a better place through custom photography. His accolades and awards include the PPA Craftsman Photographer and Master's Photography degrees, 2022 Orange County Photographer of the Year, PPC Certified Judge, 5-time Professional Photographers of Orange County President, 2021 and 2022 San Diego County Fair Judge and Panelist, and was recently selected to design and create the 2024 Segerstrom Shelby Event Center and Auto Calendar featuring some of the most unique Shelby designed vehicles ever made. When not photographing people, he helps photographers become better at the business and the art of photography and make their own lives better. And then our final juror this evening, Jeff Johnson, comes from Denver, Colorado. He is a PPA Master Photographer, artist, and educator. In over 40 years as a professional, he has always been one to share exciting ideas and techniques, offering consultations, programs, and workshops which create a vehicle where he can share his accumulated knowledge and educate photographers everywhere. In his bio, he includes the title Chief Instigator, which he acknowledges might get people thinking he's a troublemaker. And I, for one, look forward to learning more about that backstory. But he slyly intends it to mean that he provokes photographers to action and help them find their course forward by encouraging them to keep seeing the light. So I would ask you all to please join me in welcoming tonight's wonderful jury panel.
Thank you. I need to share my screen so I can do the recording of this. So give me a second here to share the screen.
Okay.
All right. It looks like I've got it.
Yeah, hold on. When you share your screen, that takes away all my screens.
All right.
It's a battle of the screens tonight.
Yeah.
The battle's beginning.
Now, there we are. Okay, so without any further ado, we're going to kick it off. Michelle, are you ready to go?
I think so. I'm juggling screens here. Yep. I got my chairman's screen and I'm ready to roll. Are you guys ready?
Ready? Let's do this.
All right.
Ready and excited.
we
Oh,
have
and you know what? If the members would like to turn off their videos to save bandwidth,
yep.
We ask that you turn off the videos. The judges can leave theirs on if they so desire, or if they want to turn it off, we'll leave it up to you.
Okay. And then we have 45 images this evening, as has been our custom this year. We've randomized those images. I will announce the category, then the title of the image as it comes on the screen. Our first image of the evening is a nature landscape image. intimate fall. Image scores a 77.
All right, let's start the night off with Jeff.
Okay, so beautiful area. Definitely something that's very attractive to the viewer. It makes you want to be standing right there.
Jeff, what did you score this?
Oh, I'm sorry, 76. And yeah, like I was saying, it's a very beautiful area, so good eye on the photographer. However, a lot of times when we don't have a alluring focal point, it lets the viewer wander a little bit too much. While we have a lot of pretty things going on here, there's not really a good, strong story. The impact is kind of fleeting. As I first looked at it, it's a good scene, but it tends to fall away from me from fact of impact. Composition is just kind of full frame, so that keeps it from really having a point to where I want to keep going back to and look at it. So.
All right, well, thank you for that feedback. That was great. We appreciate you. And Dan, let's go to the next one.
Okay, next image is the illustrative category, trolled. Image scores a 77.
All right, Duane, let's hear your thoughts.
I scored this image a 77. It came up and I said, oh, wow, this has got a really strong Norman Rockwell feel to it. But after about the first couple of seconds, I started to notice a number of things. The way that our troll has been cut out and then placed into the image, or it appears to have been cut out. There's a really sharp line across the troll's feet. Assuming this has been cut out, you might want to consider feathering that in the future. Then there is a soft halo around the entire edge of the star of the show here, our cat. I love the fact that his claws are out and creating drama, but it's almost a blue line around all of his fur where it wasn't blended in well with the background. Those are the items that are holding me back from moving into the merit category. To the positive, I love the simple key line, the color of the cat, the wood he's sitting on, all plays nicely together.
All right, it is cute and playing nicely together. So thank you for all those great comments. Very cute. We're always a sucker for these animals, aren't we?
Meow.
All right. Let's see the next one.
Next image is in the nature landscape category, snack time. Image scores a 80.
All right. Congratulations on the merit. And Ken, it's your turn.
Yes, a lovely image, a perfect moment. I'm seeing critical focus, more or less. I gave it a 79, and the only thing I docked it down really is the highlights were a little. There's a lack of detail in some of the highlights, and the treatment is this presentation is complimentary. I like it, with a little key line, and the color is nice. Everything's just perfect except the highlights. And I'm looking at the eye, and it just doesn't have that super critical focus on the eye. So I gave it a 7.
All right. Well, thank you for that detailed feedback. That's great. Yeah, that worm. That's pretty cool. Nice capture. All right. Let's keep rolling.
Next image is in the illustrative category, Berea Falls, Cuyahoga County, Ohio. Image scores a 79.
All right. And Jeff, I'll have you take this one, please.
Sure. I was right at 78 in that above average category. Impact is very strong. It just makes you want to, oh gosh, I can feel the mist from the water and the smell of the fresh greens and such. Good composition. I love the strong arch of the bridge above us and then repeating patterns of the arches going back through the scene. Just very strong. I think the thing that, and I'm a little struggling with, is I feel like we've lost sharpness through here. It's just technically, it's just not as sharp as I'd like to see something like this to have gone into a higher category. But otherwise, I think the composition, the story is very strong.
All right. Well, thank you for your feedback. Okay.
And let me just take a moment to reiterate that we, at the end of the judging, we will do a pass on all the 78s and 79s to see if any of those change.
Okay.
Okay. So next image is in the senior category, Mermaid Moment. Image scores a 77.
Okay. Well, Duane, let's hear you talk about the mermaid moment, please.
This is a wonderful capture of our high school senior here. But I scored this a 76 for the following reasons. Overall, the lighting on our senior falls flat. There's no shadow detail that I can see behind our girl, providing a direction of light. Despite the fact that she's wearing white pants, the brightest spots in the photograph are actually up into the clouds that then pull you away from our subject. And there's a number of distractions all throughout the rocks that pull you in different directions, preventing you from enjoying this particular senior moment. The matting, although is using a complementary color to the greens that are within the moss, it doesn't do much to actually, again, bring you back to our subject. So that's why I was holding this down at a 76. Keep these items in mind when you have an opportunity to photograph another senior, and let's put together a stronger portrait that they can hold on to for the rest of their lives. And I'm sure that they are going to love this as it is.
Well, thank you. That was fantastic. And, to our makers, this is some really invaluable feedback we're getting. So I appreciate it. And I hope all the makers do too. So thanks, Duane.
All right, next image is in the children category. Signs your family session is over. Image scores a 78.
All right. Ken, we'd like to hear your thoughts, please.
Yes, well, it definitely has impact. So I give it a lot of cup with impact. But then, oh yeah, and then I kind of like the offset. It's not quite in the center, kind of perks up looking at it, and then some leading lines is going on. Just another highlight management issue, just a little too hot, and also there seems to be the kids are a little on the cold side, white balance, and then the background is very warm. It doesn't really blend that well. So I gave it a 77.
All right. Very good. Yeah, those expressions are priceless, but the mom loved it. Very good. Thank you, Ken. All right, next.
All right, the next one is a portrait. My mother, Hilda. Image scores a 79.
All right, and Jeff, it's your turn.
Thank you. Yeah, I was at a 78. An Impact is a very lovely portrait of this woman. Great expression, very simple. Looks like just a simple, maybe even a window light kind of a thing. Couple of reasons that held me from going any higher with my score. I feel like we've kind of lost some definition. I mean, you can see the hairline and the shoulders, but I would love to have seen a little bit more separation in either a background light or lighting her a little bit more. The other thing too that happens, and this is unfortunate in clothing, we photograph people, but for competition's sake, this is a very busy pattern on the shirt. And frankly, we want to look at the eyes in competition I'm talking about again. So the shirt takes away an awful lot from the image. Beautiful smile, beautiful face, soft expression. Maybe the crop's even a little bit too tight. I'd like to see a little bit more room in the top, but beautiful black and white throughout, great tones. Nice job there.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, that was really nice feedback. Lovely portrait. Thank you.
Okay. Next image is also a portrait. Madame Carmen. Image scores an 80.
All right. Let's see. Ken, will you talk about Madame Carmen, please?
Yes, the definitely has beautiful impact, beautiful subject. I scored it a 78. I felt the tonality on the cheeks was a little hot, and then her hair has that little curl. I don't think that was intended. It was a little too much of a curl. Just a little more attention to detail. I think I would have definitely go up higher. But a beautiful portrait, very saleable.
Thank you very much. Yeah, beautiful woman. Thank you. All right, let's keep going.
Okay, next image is an illustrative image. Grand Mosque. Image scores an 81.
All right, congratulations to the maker. And Duane, let's hear what you have to say about the Grand Mosque.
I scored this an 82. This is a pretty challenging image to create and compose. When it first came up, I had to look at it twice, close my eyes and take another look because I thought the entire background was initially overexposed. After taking a second look at it, I can see that there is detail through every tile in the mosque. The curvature of the dome in the back has detail running through it, and I mean within the tiles themselves, not just the shape of the dome. One thing that prevented me from going higher is great symmetry throughout, and this is a maker's choice, but they chose to, in this case, place our subject dead center between the columns, which takes away, makes it a little bit less, makes the image a little bit static. Had this person been walking, and in my opinion, slightly more, taken this photograph a second or two earlier when he is leaving the pillars on the left, it would have given the subject a more of a sense of direction, and breaking up everything that is perfectly symmetrical at this point. Great choice in going with a high key matting, a complementary key line running around it. Great overall lines, everything that's supposed to be vertical is, despite shooting from the ground up. Even the symmetry in the lines at the top of the mosque are all very perfectly balanced in front and fairly straight running throughout the back. So I wanted to reward this maker, and those are my comments.
Well, very good. So congratulations to the maker and fantastic comments. Thank you so much.
Okay. Next image is also in the illustrative category, Alone. Image scores an 80.
My
All right.
turn again, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jeff, let's have you talk about Alone. How about
Sure,
that?
absolutely. Well, I'm at 83. It just one of the still life just absolutely grabbed me here, and as simple as it is, beautiful color harmony throughout. The presentation simple, it balances, just very nice. Background colors, all that works real well. One thing that I was kind of holding back from it, there's this white square, I guess we'll call it, that kind of, I don't know if you guys can see it as well, but I'm not sure what that is. But that, while it's there, that kept me from going higher, because I think it's simplicity, impact, color harmony, those several things just really struck me. So that's where I'm at, 83.
All right. Congratulations on the merit. Thanks, Jeff. All right. Dan, you ready for the next one?
Okay, the next image is in the digital artistry category, Baseball Montage. Image scores an 81.
All right. Congratulations. And Duane, let's hear your thoughts.
I scored this an 80, and I want to reward the maker for doing such a wonderful job of cutting out our senior here, putting it together flawlessly. I had to hesitate for a moment, and actually I just caught something else that I'm gonna hate to do this. I think I actually need to challenge this photograph and challenge it in the wrong direction. There are two things that are glaring out at me. So in looking at the subject on the left, he is standing in front of the banner, but yet the banner is bleeding through his jersey. I can clearly see the C on his left-hand side. That would have made my initial score down to a 77. The second thing that I see that I really don't understand is looking at the baseball in the background, the white outline of the ball. That should be perfectly rounded. There's no reason, there's no sense in the story as to why that baseball itself is misformed. So I'm gonna have to challenge this and request hearing what the other judges have to say, and then likely changing my score to a 77.
All right. So let's see. Duane has got the challenge. So let's hear from Ken.
I give it an 80, and I just went across all the faces and everything looked great. And then on the far right, covering his mouth, I almost brought it down to a 79. The points that were brought up on the challenge, I largely agree with. Although everything's ethereal and just things kind of being diffused through each other, it doesn't bother me as much. in terms of scoring. But the baseball not being round, that is a very good point, because I subconsciously kept looking up there and I didn't know what I was looking at, and that's what he identified. So I largely agree with the challenge.
All right. And
Well,
then Jeff.
Yeah, I came in at an 83, and on initial impact, this is just a very solid, good balance between all the different poses, the different subjects. But yeah, I have to agree that those couple of things that he pointed out are definitely pulling me back down the crooked baseball back there. And I just, the more I look at it, I'm seeing there's even, you can see the word, the red letters through the pose in the middle as well. And it just, yeah, I'm sorry, it just doesn't, technically it loses it there. So I'm going to be lowering my score as well.
All
I
right.
don't think there's any rebuttal other than telling the maker, I'm sorry for having to do this. It literally looks like the opacity on the player on the left has been dropped down to about 70% because that line runs all the way through.
All right. Well, let's rescore.
Image scores a 77.
All right. And let's go to the next one.
All right. Next image is in the nature landscape category. Path of least resistance. Image scores an 80.
All right. And let's see. Ken, let's start you on this one, please.
Yes, definitely major impact. This is one of the most beautiful places in the U.S. And normally the image would it would be a blue sky in that area. So it's really nice that the maker captured a kind of angry textured sky. So that's lovely. I know there's pollution everywhere, so probably the violet, the magenta, kind of foggy that turns to green on the left. I'll just assume the best. It has to do with the atmospheric conditions. But then, where I'm thinking about, I'm seeing green sky on the right. So there's some color tone issues on the sky. I would also, there's some people down on the bend, and that's one of the most focal point, impact spots of the whole image. I would clean that up so it would be more pristine. And I think there's more. There's more in the reds that could be pulled out to make it more textured. But lovely image. I give it an 8.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Ken. Sounds good. All right. Want to do the next one, Dan?
Okay, the next image is in the photojournalistic category. Greenfield Village County Comedy Girls, Halloween Nights. Image scores a 77.
Okay, Jeff, take it away.
Yeah, I'm at 76. Great story. Definitely good interaction between the three clowns, actors, whatever they are here. There's a color mishap going on here. The skin tone, I mean, the gal on the left's got makeup on, but the skin tones, the other two gals just seem awkward. Sky color just doesn't seem like we've got a good color balance here. And then, just little things like there's a couple of people in the background. I know in this category we can't remove them, but that also then tells the photographer need to step to the left, step to the right, just because we've got headless people back there. Minor thing, but it is pulling my eye just enough to pull away from the story. So that's why I'm at 76.
All right. Well, that's great feedback. Thank you, Jeff.
Okay.
Okay.
Next image is in the illustrative category. Photo booth number 9. Image scores an 80.
All right. Photo booth number 9. Duane, let's hear it.
I scored this a 79. Not often that I will give something a 79, call it a protest score, if you will. So let's start with the positives. It is a great story of these two people leaving the photo booth, but as soon as you begin to process the story, I get a little bit confused about why she is so happy and eager to be leaving when he apparently hasn't gotten his photographs. I'm a little bit confused by the title. I don't see where the number 9 comes into play on this at all. The black and white handling is absolutely stunning, but I am confused about what's taking place and not sure how or what the intention of this photograph is supposed to be. In the illustrative category, it could possibly be commercial, and if so, I'm not sure what the commercial deliverable is going to be. If it was intended to be a portrait, then a little more detail, waiting to see the two subjects coming closer together instead of being on two different missions confuses me. That's why I scored it as is. It's a bit confusing for what it is, and I'm trying to make sense of the actual storyline here.
All right. Well, thank you for that feedback. Okay. Let's do the next one, Dan.
Okay, next image is a portrait. Metamorphosis. Image scores a 79.
All right. Ken, let's hear your thoughts.
I scored it an 81. I just love the impact, and the subject is the eyes kind of bounce with the greens and all the tones on the flowers in the hair, and the book. Just a lovely play on all those color tones, and then just the lovely going. The background is almost muted to the point to the level that I'd want. I just love the image. It just spoke to me, so I give it 81.
All right. Well, I'm
Michelle,
glad
can I
that's
make a really quick comment?
Sure. Yeah, please.
I really want to love this image, but there is something that is a bit wonky with the left side line of this young lady's face, where it is so much sharper than the rest of the photograph. And the only other place that I see that sharpness is in the blue butterfly on the right-hand side of the page.
And for what it's worth, that's why I gave it the score I did too. The same couple of things. So good catch.
All right. So is this a challenge?
No.
Okay.
But what are those the lens babies? Don't they have differential I mean, it's not that all lenses have the same linear drop off. I was just but I see what you're saying. Definitely it's not an expected consistency and sharpness.
Yep. Wasn't trying to challenge. I just wanted to make that point to the
Mhm.
maker.
Okay, well, I'm sure they appreciate that. That's a great feedback. So thank you so much. Yeah, beautiful girl. Love that. All right, well, let's keep going.
Mhm.
All right, we're back to the nature landscape category. Painter's Ground, Aix-en-Provence. Image scores a 77.
All right, so Jeff, it is your turn.
All right. 78 is where I landed. Awesome scene. Love to be standing there myself. The composition, I think, is very strong. I love the foreground, the trees, and over the branches above, just really kind of help pull us in to the mount. The downside is a couple of things. The sunlight area is just kind of weak. I know it's a bright day, but I think it could have been toned down a little bit more to give it a little bit more punch. There's some beautiful colors in those trees. There's some golds in there, blue sky, and it looks like, and I hope this is, I don't know if it's a rainbow, but I'm seeing some pinks and right above the mountain. I hope it is, because I hope it's not a bad image otherwise. And the other thing too, when you get, and this is a tough one because we get just a little bit of an angle on our horizon line of the green trees, it just kind of gives us a feeling of a tip. I realize the trees in the front are straight, but there's sometimes you can work with those a little bit to pull that out. Just minor things, but it does kind of give a sense of tipping clockwise just a few degrees. So that's my spiel.
All right, well, I enjoyed your spiel. Good, great comments. Thanks, Jeff.
Sure.
All right.
Okay, next is in the illustrative category. Not really sunny San Diego. Image scores an 83.
Hey,
All right.
I'll challenge
Sorry,
this one
Jeff.
if I may.
Okay.
So I'm at
All
85.
right, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, stepping on your toes there.
That's
I'm
okay.
at 85. I think this just has that little bit of punch to bring us up even into the first part of the next category. We've got a really fine quality black and white here. It is gloomy, so you're not going to have much detail, and the city actually has a little bit of a heavy cloud fog over it. The composition is very strong, just enough water to bring us into it. The light rays in the clouds pull us back down. The clouds have nice nice texture to them. And what I like about it is that we pull, we look at the city line, the shoreline, but then we go up to the moon and the sun and a little bit of that white spot of the clouds coming through. But that to me is the kind of the source of it. The white mat is nice. I just think it needs to go in one more category. What do you guys think?
All right, let's hear, Duane, why don't you go next?
I agree with almost everything that was just said. There is one item in this photograph overall that is absolutely killing me. I don't agree with the white mat. I want to see this go edge to edge right onto the black mat, because the white is so bright that regardless of anything I try to look at, including the sun, which is just as white as the mat itself, I get pulled away. I don't get a chance to enjoy the city. I don't get to enjoy God's rays coming through, because that white 1 inch, half inch mat that runs all the way around is pulling me all the way out to the edges. That's why I scored this an 80. It's the photograph itself is absolutely amazing.
All right. Okay. And then Ken.
I completely agree. Well, first, I love the challenge because I regretted my score of 81. After I looked at it some more, it just kept growing on me. The white mat definitely is an issue, but there's another issue. And for me, it's where the light hits the water, that's where I'd want the critical focus, at least to have coverage there, not maybe be centered there. And so you're getting the critical focus, I don't know, an eighth into the image in the water towards the bottom. And then just the sparkling, working on that juxtaposition of the sparkling water and the sky, I think that's the strength, and it's not really taken advantage of. So I could go up maybe a point on that 81.
All right, Jeff, rebuttal.
Sure. Thanks, guys, for pointing those things out. Yeah, now that I look at the water, I do catch that sharpness there is definitely pulling me away from the building a little bit. And I'm just looking at it with my cropping hand, just bringing the bottom of the image up right above that bright spot in the water. And I think you've got even more impact, and then you don't have that problem. And it's funny about the white mat, and it's funny in this matting, the conversations we always hear are just so interesting. I love white mats. That's just my fine art background is the white mat. So that was working for me, but that's why we have multiple judges, right? So that we can have our difference of opinions. I'm liking this category. I'm not going to go any higher with my score, but I think the 85 is, I think, pretty good, pretty solid for this. That's where I'm going to stay.
All right, thank you for all the feedback, judges, and let's rescore this.
Image scores an 83.
Okay, very good. And the next one.
Give me just 1 second here. All right, next image is a pet image, My Shadow and Me.
Could you repeat the title, please?
My Shadow and Me. Image scores a 77.
All right, so Duane, you're the dog guy. Let's have you talk about The Shadow and Me.
Michelle, I'm going to assume you meant that in the kindest way possible.
I did. You're the dog whisperer. Come on.
So I scored this a 77. Let's begin with the fact that this is a fantastic moment, getting to play catch on the beach in the water with your puppy. But this is an image competition. So let's talk about things that will take this from cute and cuddly to absolutely amazing. When photographing pets, we get to work at their speed. And in this case, not just his speed or her speed, but also the speed of the dog that's in the background that is creating a distraction. Being in the portrait category, you can take that puppy out. On the technical side, if we're going to photograph pets, the reason that we have pets is because they're cute, cuddly, and furry. As we are looking through the neck of this dog, his fur is totally blown out with absolutely no detail. I am willing to bet that he's even got black spots throughout his neck that we can no longer see. I hate it when judges say this, but I'm going to say it. It's the wrong time of day. When you look at the shadow on camera right front leg, there is absolutely no transition. That is a hard shadow across, which in this case creates a distraction. That being said, I would personally leave the water spots falling from the Frisbee running throughout his feet. But again, it's a portrait, so we can take out all of the rocks and all of the divots in the sand that's competing for competition of what the subject is. To finish this off on a high note, I love the key line. I love the choice of colors that were used to create the mat. But unfortunately, I need to score this a 77, being in the pet portrait category.
All right, thanks, Duane. Lots to learn there, so thank you. All right.
Okay, next is a digital artistry image, Eerie Night.
Oh, you have to hit the send button. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Image scores an 83.
Minor details.
Oh, yeah, I gotta hit the send. All right. Let's see. Ken, I think you're up for this one.
Yes. Well, this is just outstanding. I give it an 83. And I just love looking back and forth between the original images and what this maker had in their mind. And then once I stopped looking at the dress and the skulls, then oh, those trees are so cool. What creativity. That's so Van Gogh-esque. So yeah, I love it. And these purples are really interesting. Yeah, I can go higher. This is great. And then the fog going off into the presentation. That's awesome. Yeah, I love this.
Okay, so you said you could go higher. Are you challenging or are you staying?
Yeah, I'm gonna challenge. I'm gonna challenge. This is
Oh, okay.
really this is a lot. I'm just still looking at it, having fun. Yeah, there's just so much going on here. Everything's so deliberate and just the pushing the boundaries, all sorts of different techniques. So the only thing here is I see like there's just some depth of field distraction in the very top here with some blurred leaves. But yeah, I challenge. I can go up to 85.
Okay, and then let's see, Duane.
I scored this an 85. Since this isn't a challenge, I'm going to take the opportunity to just be nitpicky. So I love the play into Dia de los Muertos. I love the fact that the fog is coming outside of the key line, although it's a little bit heavy on the right-hand side where it's next to the key image. But good job on doing something creative with the thumbnails that every creative artist gets to, okay, I can use a different word, complain about, in having to put the thumbnails on these types of photographs. And I love the depth of field, but the one thing that held me back from going even higher on this is when you go throughout the blacks of the trees, we appear to be at the edge of a swamp with water coming off of the water in front, fog steam coming off of the water to the right, but yet the background directly behind her and in between every one of the trees has none of this fog lifting up or steaming in. So with just a hint of fog in those black areas, it would eliminate the flat black and actually pull you through a little bit more. I scored this an 85, and I think that's a just score for this art image.
And I'm at 81. It's pretty much all been said. I think it's very creative, very clever. Love the bend of the trees to give us that eerie feeling. Just a couple of things that kept me from going the next category, and I still may. She's kind of lost in there. I would love to have seen a little bit more highlight or a little bit more brightness in her face, just because it's about her in this scene. And I keep looking and I keep telling myself it's not there, but I do keep seeing a white outline around her dress, very faint, but I do see which would fall into a selection or dropping an image over another thing. I'm just seeing a faint amount of white outline along the black dress, and that technically that is keeping me from going higher. So that's where I'm at.
All right, and Ken, rebuttal.
I say that this has such impact and such creativity that it's not an average merit. It's got to be higher than the threshold level. And I mean, I would go higher. For example, if the trees on the right don't have really any critical sharpness, even though they're kind of in that line that you'd think they'd be sharp, but still, I'm just like this imagination that's being shown here, and the creativity, and then all the things like the fog coming off the side, and this is not an ordinary merit.
All right, well, let's rescore this.
Image scores an 85.
Good
All right,
challenge there.
Good challenge, judges. Very good. All right. Where are we at in the lineup there, Dan? We have a couple more and then we can take a break.
Okay, yeah, we're just at that was image number 20. So we're almost halfway.
All right. Judges, how do you feel about a couple more and then we'll take a 10-minute break? Sound good?
Sounds good. Yeah.
Couple
All right.
more, we're good. A few more, we may be in trouble.
I know, right? Okay. Sounds good. Let's keep going.
Next image is a photojournalistic image. Cézanne's Atelier. Image scores a 79.
All right, Jeff, let's hear from you.
Well, I ended up at 81. And I kind of stumbled here, and this is just one of the things in titling. I do not know what that word atelier means. And that's just, and I'm not trying to incriminate myself here, but that's just something that be careful of titling, because there are some words that may just not be a common, and a judge may not see it. So that kind of lost on me then. But looking at the image straight up as just a photojournalist, I mean, it's a great story of this person, lovely lighting on the face, good story all around. It's a busy studio, but we've highlighted her from the rest of it. I think the matte choice was a good call, with the different densities of light all around the background. Her face still, I land back on that and look down at her hands and her phone and back up to her face. So that's where I ended up at 81.
All right, great feedback. Thanks for your comments.
And if anybody can tell me what atelier means, I would love to know.
Atelier is normally
studio
Italian.
workshop.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, I just learned something too, so thank you.
For the record, I'm lost on Cézanne. Not that I can even say it.
Okay.
Okay.
The next image is an illustrative image, Vanishing Point. Image scores an 81.
All right, congratulations. And Duane, Vanishing Point.
I scored this an 82. Great handling of the highlights all throughout. We've got detail in the bricks, even in the lower right-hand side on the inside of the shadows. The position of the boy is enough to show that he is running away and taking you into the vanishing point. The leading lines all throughout are absolutely amazing in this. And we've even got detail just enough to take you into the vanishing point, but not distract you with what's on the other side of it. Now, a couple of things that I think would allow this image to go even higher is the focus is a little too soft on the first couple of columns as soon as you enter the image. You actually have to look to find the focus point. This is in the illustrative category. So that being said, it would be very easy to take out the white blob in the upper left-hand corner and the stick wire, I'm not sure what that is, on what appears to be the light slightly to the right of the white blob that I just talked about. The highlights on almost every bolt in the overhead light screen shade could be brought down so that they're not blown out, grabbing your attention, pulling you out of the photograph. As is, I still scored this an 82, and congratulations to the maker.
All right. Yes, congratulations. And thank you for that articulate feedback. Very good.
Every now and then I can figure out how to use words.
Sometimes that is a challenge. Or sometimes, an image speaks to you and you want to articulate and you can't find the words. So I appreciate everybody's great comments tonight. So yeah. Where are we at, Dan?
Next image.
Take out the trash can on the right.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the trash can, there's a little white thing and 4 or 5 pillars down on the right too that's pulling my eye. Taking those things out and what we've talked about, this could be stellar image. So
Yeah, I think
I thought
if
Duane was
they-
looking at Shaggy to take out the trash.
if the maker approached this like it was ended up being an illustration,
yeah,
made it really clean, it would just explode. It would be amazing.
agreed.
Very good. Good job, judges.
All right.
All right.
Next image is in the children category. Autumn Harvest. Image scores an 84.
All right.
I'll challenge that.
All right, Jeff, we
I'm
got a
at-
challenge.
Well, I'm at 85 and I kind of wavered. Maybe I should go higher, but I just want to hear what my fellow jurors have to say. First of all, just a very lovely pose. Yeah, we can be a little nitpicky about the hands. It could have been a little bit more delicate, but I don't mind it because she's holding the bucket. The expression is so powerful. It's just very much drawing you in right into her eyes. I do see a little bit of a, and I don't know if it's just a makeup thing, whatever, but her skin tones alter from her face to the rest of her body. Now, it may have been toned down, burned in a little bit as her feet, maybe a touch more, but I'm telling you, if these things were addressed as I'm seeing them, I think we could have gotten this thing definitely up in the upper 80s. The oval is fantastic. The color harmony throughout, strong impact. What do you guys think?
Duane, why don't you go next?
And it's have to say I agree since I scored it an 86.
I thought you might.
To be nitpicky, there's two things that I find a bit distracting. Overall, the entire photograph of the girl, everything behind the matting, looks like it should be rotated clockwise, maybe 5 to 10 degrees, which is going to put her more into a forward lean instead of sliding backwards. And I believe you already called out the skin tone difference on her left upper chest, right at the bottom of the base of the neckline where it comes together with her clavicle. Those are the only two distractions. Otherwise, I would take this even higher than 86.
Okay, and Ken.
lovely observations. I scored it an 80, and it was just because of the skin tones. Because you could just put a layer of, and put a color blend in kind of there. What I'm struggling to see if that's just my laptop, but I thought I see on her elbow a little kind of saturated, slightly saturated orange tone or kind of red tones. Anyway, it's the same topic. It's the topic of this of the skin tone. So, but I think I docked it too much for that one, you know, especially based on what the other judges are saying. I would not. Is that cotton? The white or garlic? What is that? I would not go with a white on the right because your eyes are going to go left and then boom. I want to stay with her, but yeah, I'll go up for sure.
All right, and Jeff, rebuttal.
Yeah, thank you guys. That's good feedback. I do agree with some of the things that were said. And again, it's one of these things where I like to reward it for where I think it goes. And actually, just in a quick comment, what I'm seeing is that white pumpkin on the left and then whatever the white things are on the right is actually creating a triangle between that and her face. So it does allow my eye to move around the scene. Again, minor enough thing. Just to the maker, I think if you address the things that the three of us all talked about, man, this thing could just soar because you got something going here. I definitely want to get it up in the next category. I'm just going to stay with my 85 and see if you guys join me.
Or at least catch
All
up.
right.
That's true.
All right.
Yeah.
But you're already up there, so.
All right, judges, let's
All
rescore it.
right, 85.
Good job.
Thanks, guys. Good call.
All right, good challenge. Very
Yeah, that's
good.
excellent.
All right, Dan, are we at the middle?
We are at the middle. You want to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a little break. Let's see. It is 7:28. What do you think? 15? Is that too much? 10? What do you want to do?
5 to 10 is plenty for me.
Make a really good time here.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 should
All
be
right.
plenty.
Okay,
10.
let's see everybody back here at 7:40. How's that?
Groovy.
All right, we'll
Cool.
see
Awesome.
you guys in a little bit. All right, we're back. Judges are back from the break. We are recording. Recording in progress. Okay, is Dan back?
I am back.
Let's do
Details,
this.
details.
I know, right?
All right.
Okay. Next image, please.
Okay. The next image is an illustrative image, a man and his dog. Image
Do we have
scores an
10?
81.
All right, congratulations. And let's see. Ken, you were in my lineup, I think, before we took off for our break. So let's start with Ken.
Yeah, this is really cool. Made me crack up. I'm a big animal person. I love the kind of the same look of the animal and its owner. It's just so cool. I gave it a 79. I first got a sense of some distortion and wide angle, but the more I look at it, no, my bad. I definitely would score this at least an 80. The presentation is a little plain. I think it could have been embellished a little bit. And then it's so cool that everyone's wearing dark jackets all around this guy. It's really, it's just, this is a photo that grows on you. So yeah, I gave it 79, and I think I scored it a little low. And I'm willing to I'm gonna challenge this. I want to. This should at least be an 80 to 83.
Okay, so we have a challenge from Ken.
Mhm.
And so Duane, let's hear your comments on it.
I'm sure there's a reason as to why this fell into illustrative. If it
Yeah,
required
that
some editing,
threw me off.
if it required some editing, which I'm making the assumption it did, because I'm not noticing any signs on the buildings, then dead center of this photograph, take out that post, please. There's a horizontal bar that's dead center.
Yeah.
Maker's choice here. This is just my opinion. So part of the reason for using a wide angle on this is to put you into a tight area, but yet our matting is roughly 1 inch all the way around. Experiment with this, and because the Chihuahua is already supposed to be in a high vantage point, which is not natural for these puppies, reduce the overall size of the photograph and put it up into the upper left corner where it takes up maybe 1/3 to 1/2 of the overall matting. Check it out, see what that looks like, because that should create even more tension of the Chihuahua. The shadows, the highlights have all been handled exceptionally well. The storytelling in here is awesome. That's why I scored this an 82, regardless of whether it's in photojournalism or illustrative. It's just a really cool, fun photograph.
All right, very cool. Okay, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm at 82, and the more I sit and look at this, the more I'm falling in love with it. I have to agree with some of the things the guys said as well, but yet what I see in this, and I definitely think it should have been in the photojournalism category. And the only thing that maybe I'm looking at the upper right of the sky, looks like it's been toned down, and it could have been maybe just a little bit less, but I don't think it's a problem. But what I see here is this great story. Everybody's going the other direction. Everybody has dark clothes on, winter clothes, and here's this guy coming at us with his dog as if he's just totally. I mean, I think even the signs work with this because everybody's going that way that says only, and I think of it, the titling could have been something a little different to really play up that contradiction here and what this guy's life is all about compared to the rest of the world. I think there's a really strong story here that could be score higher in that photojournalism category in a little different title. So I was at 82, but I'd probably raise my score a couple points here just because I can.
All right, let's hear the rebuttal.
Well, I have the same confusion of this seems to be photojournalism, and I was like really confused with the illustrative. Then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, everything needs to be perfect because like that half face in the left, and then it was pointed out that that pole coming across. But having said that, it still has huge impact, and it still has this this incredible deal with all the dark jackets and then the brightness of the animal and the owner, and they have the same expression. And then great shout out about that sign. Like, oh, that together, it's just, I just want to keep going higher. I'm gonna score it at 83. And I think it can. I encourage the maker to take it to MIR and fix all these little things and take it to the next level.
All right, thanks, judges. Let's rescore it.
Image scores an 83.
All right, very good. Very good. Fun talking about that. So thank you for all the feedback. Very good.
Yeah,
All
good
right.
conversation there for sure.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. And I hope the maker is watching and, you know, taking all this into account, what they want to do. And it'll be fun after, you know, after we do all the judging, when everybody talks about their images and you get to hear the behind the scenes and all that. That's what makes it even more fun. So everybody stick around for that. All right, let's go to the next one, Dan.
All right, the next image is a portrait image. I'm sorry, it's a senior image. I want to be in a magazine. Image scores an 81.
All right, congratulations to the maker. And Jeff, you are up.
I'm up, huh? Okay, quite cool. I'm at 82 with this. What a really clever idea. The impact is very strong. It just definitely pulls us in. And let's look at what's happening here. And the titling is just very cool for this theme. Boy, excuse me. Nice lighting across the face, the arms, nice even all the way across the dress. I like the background, the matte choice and the liner color, very good. The only thing that's kind of holding me back is this pose is a little bit static. We got shoulders, hips, face all go in the same direction. We've turned the face a little bit. If we had just a little bit more, hard to tell what her pose is with that size dress as to how the hips are. But I think if the hips would have been thrown to her right, camera left, shoulders turned to us, maybe a little tip, and then the head, it would have made it a little bit more playful, which I think would have gone along more with this theme. So that's where I'm at.
All right.
I have
All
a
great
comment, Michelle, if I may. Agree with everything that's been said. From a judge's perspective, we get to look at this on the high-res preview. And because of that, what should be a gradation in the background actually has 3 very distinct different tones of black with almost a red halo line separating each of those tones. So if you look at the corner of the Bazaar magazine that she's holding, that's line number 1. Then it looks like the background has been painted out for some reason, as there's another diagonal line from the left leading up to about the level of her eyes, and then it curves around her head unnaturally, and I don't understand that, but that would be very easily fixed in post. That was my comment.
May I throw something in there too? And I think this is the, I don't want to label it, the other side of judging at home on our own machines. And I'm very well calibrated, as I'm sure the other guys are too. I don't see any of that. So not to be contradictory, but I don't see any of that banding or anything. It's good gradations on my machine. So that's just something to face in this home judging stuff.
All right. Yeah, good feedback, because I know from judging experience, different monitors and when it goes through the internet and it does whatever it does. But yes, that was all great comments. So thank you so much to all the judges. And let's move on. Let's go to the next one.
Okay, the next image is a photojournalistic image. Nostalgia on the auction block.
So I'm frozen here. Can you? Okay, there we go.
Yeah, Zoom
Never.
seems to be slow.
Never mind. I just got the image.
All right, yeah, Jeff, take a little more time if you just got the image.
Yeah, thank you.
Image scores a 77.
All right, and I think we're at Duane. Duane, why don't you take this one?
I scored this a 77. Let's start with commending the maker for taking on the challenge of actually photographing lit neon, because that is just not easy. We actually have a pretty fair color balance throughout the photograph. The blues are blue, the reds are red. We have natural skin tones on our young gentleman here, which is apparently coming from the overhead lighting, so I expect a little bit of the orangey cast. Where I'm holding this back is the item is up for auction. He's pointing it out, but there is absolutely no connection. He's looking off somewhere else, totally uncaring. So I don't see any connection there. The sign itself is actually just a tad overexposed. You can see a little bit of blue, I'll call it haloing it. You get a weird mist effect when neon isn't photographed tack on because of the way that the gases move within the tubes. And the other thing that I don't really understand, this being in, if I heard that right, photojournalism, around the gentleman's arm, there appears to be a brightness behind his arm that doesn't make sense. So there is a level of blue in that display case that actually brightens on the right and left side of his arm, right where the hairband is at, or the bracelet, whatever he's wearing. So that's why I scored this a 77.
All right, great comments, Duane. Thank you. Yep, that's a tough one with the neon.
I
Good
still
call.
have nightmares of photographing it on the last project.
Oh boy, well, we keep you up at night. All right, let's
then-
let's hit this one.
Okay, the next one is a senior image. Up next at the Cotton Club. Image scores an 82.
Okay, and Ken, it's your turn for this.
Yes. I scored it 78, and I felt like the crop was really tight, so I feel like very confined. And then to me, it feels like more she's having issues with her mic than rather this contemplative next step. Like, maybe I can do this or do that. The lighting is really nice, so I probably underscored it on that level.
So I will challenge at this point.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
so Duane, we challenge then. Let's hear your thoughts.
Dan, can you read the title again, please?
Up next at the Cotton Club.
So we have a vintage 20s era singer in a jazz club. These spaces, if you've ever seen a live performance, are generally very small. So in this case, I actually like the tight crop. You don't have a lot of stage room as if you're in a major rock concert. You have a very small space to work it. In this case, they posed her appropriately. The contemplative look, the way she's holding the microphone with her hands. Even though we're looking into the back of the hands, that is a natural way of holding that microphone. The lighting running across her body brings you exactly to where you want to see. We have great detail falling across both cheeks. Her eyes are not totally closed, as if she's getting ready to start singing the first notes. We have blacks in her gloves that go fully black and then start to show details of her skin where the gloves thin out on the right-hand side. The gradations of the black background is enough to create a great separation for her. So she's easily seen with detail throughout all of her hair. I scored this an 86 for those reasons and wanted to wait on my challenge to hear what my other judges had to say.
All right. And let's hear from Jeff then.
Yeah, I came in at 81, and I'll be honest with you, I was quickly trying to backpedal because I wanted to score a little higher. So I'm glad the challenge came in. Agree with everything that was just said. It's a beautiful portrait. I think I like the tight crop on it because in her little bit of a tilt, it gives us some action. It gives us some almost an immediate pay attention to me kind of a feel. Only thing I can say that I would have maybe done a little differently is maybe turn her shoulders a little bit away from the camera, because we do have an awful lot of area on her chest. That's probably the lightest part of the scene. Being real picky, but that's what we do in this competition. But as it is, what a great story. Technically, it's handled very well. All those things. So, I mean, I definitely would like to go up in my score as well.
Okay. And see, Duane challenged. Ken, do you have any other thoughts before Duane does a rebuttal? No. Okay. So
Oh,
let's.
sorry. I didn't hit unmute.
Okay.
I agree with everything that these awesome judges. By the way, this is a pretty good group of judges. I've judged a lot of competitions, and these guys are really awesome. So I really appreciate these comments, and I totally agree. The only thing I'd say here is I'm seeing a little light ghosting around the upper right. Okay, the subject's left head, very light. But having said that, I am willing to go up in the 85 range.
All right. And Duane, do you have anything in your rebuttal then to close?
The last quick comments on my rebuttal, that lighting bleeding around behind her could be a spotlight on the background. Something that I want to say that I don't ever get to hear in competition. Whoever created this portrait, congratulations on creating a portrait that was probably 70, and in my opinion, I'm guessing closer to 90-95% done in camera without a tremendous amount of post-production work. I just don't hear that enough in the PPA world. So I have already scored this an 86. I will likely be raising to an 87, 88.
All right. Very good. Judges, let's rescore.
Image scores an 87.
All right.
you.
Congratulations. Good challenge, judges.
Yeah, good job, guys. It was good conversation.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
All right. Let's head on to the next.
Okay. The next one's a portrait. Sugar Skull Emily.
Sugar Skull and what?
Emily. Sugar Skull Emily. Sorry. Looks like we have a slight delay. Image scores a 77.
Okay, let's see. We had everybody kind of weigh in the last time, so I think Jeff, you were up. Let's have you.
Okay, I'll take it.
comment, please.
Yeah, so I came in at 77. I think we have a really great idea here. It is a nice pose. Hands are handled well. Nice little tip of the head. I just kind of feel the lighting is a little bit off here. I'm imagining with this type of image, especially with using the word skull in there and having that concept, we're probably looking at maybe playing down the light in the eyes. But unfortunately, a portrait, yeah, you want to have some more light in the eyes. We got good skin color throughout. The background is nice color tone. Hair's handled well. But what I see most of all is the flowers on her shoulder. Her eyes don't pull me in like I'd love for them to do to get a higher score.
Okay, great comments, Jeff. Thank you.
Okay. The next image is a children Top Gun. Image scores an 82.
I will challenge that for sure.
All right, Jeff, we've got a challenge.
Well, I
Go
came
for
in
it.
at 87 here on this, and just right off the bat, this just really had great impact as it came up and the title was read. Great storyline with what we all know of the movie and, of course, the clothing here. This little bit of almost a cocky attitude, just taking the glasses off and kind of looking down his nose at us. The pose is very simple for a young boy. It doesn't need to be fancy. Lighting is really outstanding. Even the orange background just has a nice punch to it that I think works. It works very well. Hand pose is nice. Jeans have been toned down nicely. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Let's hear what you guys say.
All right, well, Duane, you're on the other end of the spectrum, so let's hear from you.
I scored this a 77. I may have underscored it, but there are two reasons why I came up with that score. So I do like the orange background. What I don't understand is all of the brown blotchiness within the orange background. It could be playing into the fact that that should be the afterburn of a jet engine, but I find it distracting instead of being a smooth orange with a spot in back. The second thing that is even more critical is the highlights are blown out. This is a sheep lined leather coat, and on the camera right collar, there is no detail left in that collar. It is so bright. The highlights on his forehead could come down a little bit, and a little bit more light into his eyes to bring them out, as both eyes are falling into shadow. You can barely see the catch lights. That's why I scored it a 77.
All right, and Ken.
So I scored it an 82, and I definitely want to go a little higher, but the issue, well, first of all, I see detail in the highlights I'm using my MacBook Pro, and I don't know if it's the screen or whatever, but I'm seeing detail but not a lot. So definitely it's at the limit of controlling highlights. And the blotchiness, I do see a little bit. And so I can't go over like 84. That needs to be nice and smooth. And I think the overall problem is that the highlights and the shadows are very complicated in the face. It's not a unified, beautiful wash of light. So I agree with that point. However, let's just go back to the basics. The impact is fantastic. And it's like this boy seems a little young to have like this perfect badass Tom Cruise approach, and it's striking. It's awesome. And the color's great. It's reminiscent of the jet, a jet fighter, of the thrust of a jet fighter, and then the pose is perfect. The attitude is perfect. Maybe the glasses shouldn't basically touch his face, but I mean, it's super ticky tack. I'd say that overall the idea is amazing. Implementation is 90%, and I'm going to go up a couple points.
All right, and Jeff, your rebuttal.
Yeah, rebuttal, and this is awkward, and certainly not pointing anything directly to anybody, but I do not see any of those issues. I have wonderful detail in the sheepskin collar. The lighting on his face is exquisite. Detail in the hair. The background is smooth and it looks just like an afterburner. I see no blotching was mentioned, so I think that's just, again, what comes down, and you can only judge what you see. So I'm not trying to change anybody's mind, so please understand that. But I'm seeing a very smooth, and I'm looking at my 87 and thinking I might go to 90 with this, because this is just that strong and that simple and very powerful of a portrait. So that's where I'm at.
All right, well, judges, let's rescore.
Image scores an 86.
All right, very good challenge. Excellent comments and feedback. Good job, judges. All right, let's move on from Top Gun.
All right.
Take
Next image
take it
is
to
a
the
nature landscape. Go ahead.
Take it to the danger zone there, Dan.
Okay. Next image is a nature landscape image. Forest turtle. Image scores a 77.
All right, Duane, let's talk about this turtle.
Love the title. Love to see how the title plays into what appears to be what could be assumed to be a turtle's claw. The patterns are actually really cool. Where I'm held back is looking at the sharpness of the foreground brown pine leaves. Those are sharper than any of the detail within the patterns of what looks to be actually a tree trunk. As we move into the back, especially in the upper right-hand corner, we not only have a bright spot, but there is a separation in the bouquet line that could have been smoothed out so it doesn't grab your attention so much. That contrast is so powerful that it actually pulls you away from what I'm going to refer to as our turtle's claw. As we move to the left of the photograph, almost dead center, there are a couple of light gray twigs that could have been easily taken out. A little bit of vignetting on this particular photograph also would have brought us back to looking at the turtle's claw, which based on the title is supposed to be our subject. So I don't really get an opportunity to simply stop, land, and enjoy the moment with this. That's why I scored this a 78.
All right, fantastic. Boy, things that you just don't think about. So that's excellent. Thanks, Duane.
I have nothing to
And-
do on my spare time.
I love the
Except look at
titles,
turtles.
turtles and turtle claw turtle. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, let's keep moving on.
Okay, next one is an illustrative image, looking back. Image scores an 82.
All right, congratulations to the maker. And Ken, we'd like to hear what you think.
Wow. Okay. I gave it an 82. And the first thing I felt is some sci-fi movie of a perfectly created robot that's about to do something amazing. Just some sci-fi movie. You've got all these aberrations in the lenses, and it's just really cool. So let's step back here. So the lens aberrations. I first was like, okay, that's distracting me, and then I realized it actually adds to the feel, except the small little dot on her cheek, and there's a little puff of yellow around her lips. Everything else is really cool and really impactful. The blowout of the light, it's a little big. So that takes me away from going. I was thinking of a very 85 plus kind of thing. I gave it 82, and I just think there's a lot of little distractions. Like I don't know what's that on the seat. There's just some little things that need to be cleaned out to just focus on this connection of she's looking in the mirror. And I wish I took this photo. This is fantastic, but I gave it 82. It just has some aberrations and just needs to be cleaned up.
All right.
Not challenging. Can I make a couple of comments?
You said say that again. You're not challenging, but you want to make a comment?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, please do. Yeah, anytime the judges have extra comments, we love that. We have time tonight, so that's great.
I love how this diorama was put together. I agree that the headlight in the vehicle that is annoying the crap out of this young lady is a little bit large. Bring that down a little, reduce its overall circumference. The blowout I'm actually good with, because how many times have you been in a car and annoyed because of the bright headlights behind you? What really caught my attention is on the seat is her purse. I love the fact that the maker went to that much detail to put her purse there. But I'm also annoyed at the fact that the maker put in soft seat belts that are not moving. And when you look at the passenger side of the seat belts do not have the same focus that the purse actually has, or the rest of that seat has. I love the fact that it was shot on a wide angle. It was probably a couple of millimeters too wide, because the station wagon she is driving looks more like an extended bus instead of probably a 1955 Chevy or that type of car. The highlights bring you through the image, which is a great choice in when to break the rules. And even the fact that she's driving by what appears to be a movie theater is actually really cool. So I love the overall story and how this was put together. Even the solar flare reflecting off of the mirror back into her face is awesome. And I do agree with the yellow spots over her lips. Those can be taken out. Great job for the maker for putting so much time and putting this diorama together.
All right. Wow, very cool feedback. Thank you so much, Ken and Dwayne. Cool. All right. Let's
Next image, it's a pet image, sunset tails. Image scores an 80.
all right, Jeff, it's time to hear from you.
Okay. 80 is what I gave it. I think it's just into that merit category. Nice little story here. I don't mind that the dog's face is even kind of turned away from us because the title talks about the tail. Beautiful evening, sunset, nice colors throughout. Maybe the water and the wave action in the foreground is a cool idea, but it's so out of focus. I maybe would have suggested crop up, maybe cut half of that away, and you'd still have the same story. But otherwise, just I really kudos to the maker for seeing this and creating this piece. I'm guessing maybe there's a little light added to the dog. However, it was balanced nicely. So good job.
All right. I want to go surfing with the dog. That looks fun. All right. Let's go to the next one.
Okay, the next image is a return to the nature landscape category, spectacular season shift.
Repeat the title, please.
Spectacular season shift.
For what it's worth, I don't know if Dan, is that your cursor that's still in the scene there? Thank you.
Oh.
Minor.
But Jeff, are you watching that not on the Zoom, but on the through the remote display?
Whatever popped up is what I'm watching it on. Yeah. Yeah, the remote.
Okay. Because you shouldn't have seen my cursor on the remote display because that's on the Zoom.
Then I'm on
Just
that.
double check.
No, that's
Okay.
cool.
Image scores a 78.
All right. Ken, it is your turn.
Okay. Absolutely lovely image. Perfect time of day. Great composition. And right after the impact, I start to feel like there's two scenes. There's the land and there's the sky. And the reason why that is so stark is because the color balance on the foreground, especially the mountain, the mountain with the snow and the ridge to the side, has a different color balance. Now, that may be the case with the camera captures, but what the human perception is we have a unified color balance. Our visual cortex puts it together. That's just an awesome thing that we can do. And so it's very blue, very, because it's getting the sky that's behind, it's getting those tones. So that needs to be unified. Then there's no sense of depth outside of that because there's just everything's sharp. There's not any kind of gradient. And so it just feels like it's just a super sharp scene and then blurry clouds. So I don't know if the maker just sharpened everything in the front, but it doesn't seem real, doesn't feel right. And finally, when you're going to go landscape, you might as well just go landscape. So all the power lines are just, don't add; they actually are distract. And so nowadays, you know, we have the tools, clean it up, and make it all about the mountain, make it about the beauty of nature. And then, you know, all together, you can communicate to the viewer what you felt when you were there, and that would just take it. So I gave it a 79 because it missed it. The scene could have taken so many levels of sophistication, and the maker did a good number of them, but there's more to go because this scene could make you cry. So I give it a 79.
Okay, thank you, Ken. Very thorough feedback. Very good. And that's beautiful. That sky, wow, though. My goodness. All right, so let's go to the next one.
Okay, next image is a senior image. Ready for my big break. Image scores an 81.
All right.
I'll challenge that.
All right, Jeff, we got a challenge.
Yeah, I'm at
Go for it.
86. This just really struck me as being very powerful. There's a lot of really good stuff going on here. The lighting, the expression straight in to the camera is just very powerful. Her eyes, you keep coming right back to them. Nice backlighting or side light on her shoulder. Yeah, we lose it a little bit on her camera right, her left shoulder. Not a problem. I love the crop on it, off center, cutting her hair, really makes her face stand out. I'm good with going into the excellent category. What do you guys think?
All right, Ken, let's hear from you.
Well, embarrassingly, I mistakenly saw the image on the Zoom and then flipped over after my score, and I'm like, oh God, I screwed up. Apologize. So totally embarrassing. I'm apologize to the maker.
Ken, hold on.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Jeff and everybody, we are supposed to be looking at the images through the remote display on printcompetition.com.
Yes.
Okay,
I am, and I
Yes,
just by mistake pulled it up earlier. So
yeah,
okay.
yeah, and that's what happened with me.
Ken, okay.
And the problem is I'm on my laptop because I just, you know, I finished a shoot and just had to start judging. Usually I have like 4 monitors, so I just
I'm not
mistakenly.
on you guys.
Yeah,
I just want to make
I,
sure I'm at the right
I'm
spot.
just saying this is an educational moment. How important it is to be on the screen, because when I went over, I'm like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. My score is so stupid. I
that's why I
agree with you
challenged it.
guys. Lead me, guys. I'm with you. This is great. I have changed my mind. I'm looking at this and like, oh, this maker rocked it.
Cool. Okay, well, since it's a challenge still, let's hear from Duane then.
I scored this an 80. I can comfortably move a couple of points. The reason I didn't go initially higher is the highlights on camera left above her eye and in her cheek area are a tad on the bright side. But as I said, I can comfortably move. To the maker's credit, thank you for keeping detail throughout every bit of both her jacket and her sweater. You can actually see the fibers in her sweater, and there's detail behind her hand where it should be blocking out all of the light. So I think that was handled amazingly well, and this is definitely an image she is going to cherish for the rest of her life.
All right, excellent. And Jeff, rebuttal.
Yeah, Yeah, thanks, guys. Again, I was at 86. I'm going to go to 88. This is just the more I look at it, it's just very striking. Everything is going well for it. The Rembrandt lighting still leaves our eyes. What we keep going back to, the cropping, as I mentioned. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm going to go 88 with my next score here. So join me, please.
All right, let's rescore.
Image scores an 86.
Thanks, guys.
All
Good
right.
stuff.
Asking you shall receive sometimes.
Sometimes I like that. And you can make the checkout too.
Checks gladly accepted, reveal images after the image comp, so everything remains fair.
There you go.
Yeah, Zell's accepted.
All right, Dan, let's bring on the next.
Okay. Next image, we return to the nature landscapes category. I am the storm. Image scores an 85.
All right, Jeff, we're gonna give it to you.
Yeah, I'm at 89, and I'm just sitting here going, the only well, it's beautiful. I mean, what a beautiful combination to capture this rugged, interesting, alien-looking tree. I love the angle of the ground below it, just nice angles, and then to capture this sky behind it, just stunning. Wonderful light on the tree, detail everywhere. Minor thing, that little orange cloud in the upper left corner, I probably would have popped that out of there. But gosh, the only thing wrong with it, down the right corner, it should say Jeff Johnson. That's the only thing I could add to it. So 89, that's where I'm at.
All right, great feedback, beautiful image. All right, Dan, let's go to the next one.
All right,
I
next
never
image.
get those guys when I do that drive.
Okay, next image is a photojournalistic image. Beware scorned woman.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the title and category?
It's photojournalism. Beware scorned woman. Image scores a 77.
All right, I think we're at Duane. Duane, why don't you take this one, please?
I'll start with my question. Took me a minute to figure out what I was looking at. So this appears to be part of a play. Okay, technically that can go into photojournalism. That's going to be considered posed for photojournalism because you're documenting part of a rehearsed performance. So the reason that I really did hold it to a 77 is we have a number of highlights in the background that could have been brought down. When you put together the title with the image itself, you have to go searching for the butter knife, which is less than maybe 2% of the image, which is being held by the lady in the blue dress. It's just not visible, so the title doesn't make sense to the photograph overall. The story of the photo, you're looking for the scorned woman, but there's a gentleman being helped up or being helped down slowly, whichever direction you want to put him into. So it doesn't make a lot of sense and the story doesn't hold together. I love any opportunity to be able to use a red key line, but in this particular case, the key line becomes over dominant from the rest of the photograph. That's why I scored it as I did.
All right, very articulate.
That was brilliant.
That was really well said, Duane. Thank you. I hope our maker's listening, and let's go to the next one.
Yeah, they're
Okay,
going to take that butter knife to me later.
The next image is in the illustrative category, emerging structure. Image scores an 82.
All right, Ken, this one's yours.
All right. I give it an 83, and I just think the maker really knocked it out of the park, because I would have just photographed this, level. Probably I wouldn't have photographed it. It's just a construction site, and to see the development of this structure, and then to articulate it in a photo, and to pull out that the bottom panel area has this aluminum or metal facade, that's the next step, and then everything goes, everything else is behind, and then just like that composition leads to this little kind of dissonance and makes you face it. Oh, this is so cool. So I give it an 83. I'm not an architecture photographer, but I just think this maker did the most brilliant composition out of something that 99.99% of people wouldn't even think of or look at. So yeah, that's 83.
Michelle, I want to challenge just to hear the rest of the comments.
Okay, Duane's bringing on a challenge. So Duane, you go first, then we'll have Jeff, and then we'll keep going.
I scored this an 85, starting with the comments that have already been said. But this needs a few more points just based on the technical aspect and how it was photographed or how it was put together afterwards. Because when you jump into the blacks, there's detail leading inside of this building. There is no active construction work going on, so the only light that's actually hitting this is coming from the outside, making the exposure very challenging. Whether it was done with an HDR or single frame, I don't know, don't really care. The next thing that I am seeing, not exactly an architectural image, but if you tilt your head 45 degrees, every vertical is still straight, every horizontal is still straight, except where the boards are stacked on each other and they're purposely meant to be not perfectly straight. So the horizontals and verticals are handled amazingly. Already been said in how the maker saw something that most of us would have walked by and just ignored. Because the composition in the final composition is thrown off by a mere 45 degrees, it's not the traditional photograph that says, hey, look at me, I'm a cat, I'm a portrait, I'm a whatever. It makes you think about what it is you're really looking at and how they found a vantage point to make what is a mishmash of scaffolding actually look amazing. And then we move into the aluminum frame at the bottom, which becomes what would normally be the anchor of a normal landscape photograph. The middle level is just a tad brighter, and then you get to the top level, and each subsequent level becomes a little bit darker, adding an amazing amount of depth to this. So that's why I scored it an 85, and I really want to hear what the other judges have to say.
All right, so Jeff.
Yes, I'm at 78. What was the title again, please?
It was emerging structure.
Okay. Well, listening to my fellow jurors, I will agree with a lot of what they're saying, and I will just be honest. I guess I missed this one a little bit. It does have a lot more impact the more I look at it, and it's pretty much been said. So I'm just going to say that I will come up in my score.
All right. So it's Dwayne's challenge. We did hear from Ken. Ken, do you have any other? Ken commented before the challenge. Do you have any other
Yes, I
comments?
think there should. Yeah, I think there should be an award for something, the something out of nothing award, and I think that's the most important award in photography. And this maker should get this award.
All right. I like it. We'll have to add that to our award ceremony.
I will take it into consideration.
All right. And then Dwayne, your rebuttal, please.
It's been said, I think the reward in this case is a rescore that will benefit the maker.
All right. Let's rescore.
Image scores an 86.
All right. Good job, judges. Congratulations to the maker. Cool. Okay. Let's move on.
Okay, next image is a nature landscape image, Junction Rock. Image scores an 80.
All right. I don't even know who was next. Let's see. We did, I think we're at Dwayne. So go ahead, Dwayne.
I scored this a 77. I really, really want to like this image. It's a really cool infrared. But that being said, the highlights in the trees are blown out. I can't see the leaves in several different areas. The shadows, especially on the left side of the rock where the rock comes into contact with the sky, they're not totally gone, but there can definitely be a lot more separation brought out even as an infrared. As I'm looking through the face of the rock, okay, that is tack sharp, that is wonderful. But there's just either take out the water totally or add a little bit more water in so it doesn't feel so tight. And lastly, the fence is so soft that you need to stop, figure out what it is you're looking at, and it still doesn't make sense as to why the left side of the fence is so much softer, almost to the point of being unrecognizable compared to the fence as it travels through the right side of the photograph. That's why I scored it a 77.
All right. Thank you for
I'd like to. Can I chime in?
Yeah.
I completely agree. It saddens me about the highlights because if you imagine the detail going from the lights to darks, taken all the way down to the bottom level, this could look like an Ansel Adams piece. I mean, it's just half a stop too bright, and maybe the file has. I mean, okay, it's infrared, so I don't know. It could have been a specialized camera where you take off the filter, or maybe it was infrared film. Anyway, the bottom line is that detail in those lovely trees at the bottom would be so awesome. And I'd actually take that river and darken it to balance with the sky. Not as dark as the sky, but dark. And so I think the maker is really close to just like going many points up. But I gave it a 79. I agree. The highlights just take it away from me and take it to like, I wish.
Okay, I got to say something.
Okay. Go ahead, Jeff.
So, guys, I love you, but I'm not disagreeing on purpose. But there's wonderful detail in the trees on my screen. There's no blown out highlights. This is, matter of fact, I scored it an 84, and I'm thinking it should have been higher. The subtleties of the shadows on the camera left of the side of the monument is just delicious. The trees are, I from an infrared shooter myself, I would love to see the trees even brighter from my point of view. So again, I'm just throwing that out there to the makers' benefit so that they realize that there's kind of both sides being seen here. Nothing, obviously, guys, nothing to try and just argue with you, but I'm seeing.
No. I welcome what you said, and I'm looking closer. I do see the detail, but I guess it's actually a communication issue on my side. It's more that it's so bright at the bottom that it just becomes more about the trees than the structure.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah.
And so my bad about I do see detail. I do see it. I also see a drop off to maybe this is a lens aberration on the left versus the right. So there's something going on.
Agreed.
Because the right is very sharp, and then the left goes to like what I used to see in the film days. Some that doesn't look digital. It looks like filmic with older lenses, but the right looks great. So that needs to be balanced and figured out. And so I'm kind of in between you guys in that detail there definitely is. And so I apologize to the maker, there is detail and highlights, but it's just my eye just keeps going down to the center tree over and over again. So there are a lot of potential.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
thank you.
left side being soft is an issue.
Very good.
This is a fantastic image for why we do this, because it's like there's so much going on here. It's so much potential. This is a great image. It's like, let's make this better. And there's like what's going on the left. But the more I look at it, I think I'd love to go, on an outdoor landscape shoot with this maker, because obviously they know what they're doing, and this is awesome.
Let's skip the rest of the image comp and go photograph monuments.
Okay. I'm in. Let me put my shoes on. I'm good to go.
All right.
You hit it on the head, because I mean, this is why we do image comp, is to learn and to grow and to get other people's feedbacks. And sometimes we get angry at what people say, or we have to sit with it for a little bit, and we can look back and say, oh, wow, okay, yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really appreciate everyone's
Good point.
From a judge's perspective, I think it really kills every single judge when they see an image, and I do love this. But then you look at the technicalities and you can see where it could become so much more amazing than where it's at even right now.
Yes. Well, thank you, judges.
That left side is puzzling me as to why.
Yeah, I'm like, what's going on here?
You know, it looks like a negative has popped out of the carrier in the enlarger. It's gotten hot and bent. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like almost a gradient of sharpness from the right to the left. The more I see it, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Be curious to find out why that is.
All right. Judges,
Anyway, the maker rocks. There's a lot to go with this technique, and I wish I knew the maker knows to do this. This is great.
All right, thanks, Ken. Let's go to the next one, guys.
All right, next image is a pet image, Light at the Sea. Image scores an 82.
Okay, I got to challenge that one.
Okay. All right, Jeff, let's go.
Well, I'm at 86, and the more I look at this is just very minimalist, very beautiful. Obviously, we've got beautiful sharpness, The exposure on the dog is just right on. I don't even mind the little bit of softness in the sand at the foreground. It's soft enough and not obvious enough that it does lead us in. Absolutely love the minimalist of the whole 2/3 of the rest of the scene. It's a beautiful gray. Even the fact that it's kind of really one tone, it's not even gradated. You can't help but go right back to the dog every time. The position is good, the placement and such. So what do you guys think?
Okay, let's hear from Ken and then we'll hear Duane.
Okay, so Jeff is 100% right.
Oh, we can quit. Let's go home.
Okay. This, I gave it 83, but this drop off into the whiteness, but it's not totally white.
Right.
And then it gives you this drama. What is the dog looking at? And there's just space to breathe. It's what artists, it's like with what famous art pieces have done for centuries. And this, photographer just like nailed it with maybe their own dog. I don't know. To underscore how I underscored this image, only thing that I have a critique now is that little white spot down the middle under the leg. Like, just clone that out. But Jeff, lead me, I'll follow.
Okay.
Okay, Duane.
I scored this a 76 and I probably underscored it. However, there are still a couple of items that concern me. In the PPA world, there is a high likelihood that both of these photographs would have been disqualified. I don't know the San Diego rules well enough to know whether or not 2 photographs of the same subject are allowed to merit. Moving beyond that, as I continue to look at it, I do now see a separation line in the top of the dog's snout compared to where the water line is. However, there is no detail. I should be able to see a trace of the shape of the puppy's nose. Listening to my makers, or my co-judges, I will be raising my score. I think this photograph would benefit greatly by changing the mat to a white mat and going with a high key effect all throughout it, because I think part of the issue that I'm having is the contrast difference of this black mat on what is basically a high key background. And I do realize that about 25% of the photograph is black sand, but it is being overruled by the majority of the white. I will be raising my score. Those are the comments that I wanted to make about this particular photograph.
All right, thanks, Duane. And then Jeff, your rebuttal.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Good information. Yeah, the white spot, since you pointed it out, is drawing my eye. And the other thing that I really have to say, I agree with the black mat. And I would even go with a gray mat, just to make it totally neutral. Make that mat the same color as the water, and have a key line that works. Because one thing I know is a problem a lot of times is when the key line disappears. We see it well on the left and the bottom, but we lose it on the right and the top. And a lot of times judges have a hard time with that. But golly sakes, this is so simple, so just minimalist, fundamental. It's not much to go wrong in here. I'm at 86. I mean, I was thinking about going a little higher, but the last couple of things that were mentioned, I think I'll just stay with my 86 score, but love to have you guys come up and join me.
All right, let's rescore.
Image scores an 85.
Good
All
job.
right. Again, good talk, you guys.
Good puppy.
Puppy. Okay, let's see. How many images do we have left here? Dan?
7 images.
All right, we're on the home stretch. How are you feeling,
Right.
judges? You good?
Loving it.
We
Oh, this
got
is
Okay,
great.
this.
All right,
Okay.
let's do the next one. Dan.
Next image is illustrative, piercing the veil. Image scores a 79.
All right, I think everybody's been all over the place. So I don't think I've heard from Ken in a while. Maybe we'll hear from Ken.
Okay. My first reaction is I see someone like a doing some like a in like a symphony, and he's like directing a symphony, but then piercing the veil. So I got very confused, and my reaction is, I look to the blur in the eyes, and it's just not telling me a story. So something I'm not getting. The impact is very strong, and the hand blur is amazing. I don't know. I think I need the judges to help me with this.
All right, was there another judge that wants to
Yeah.
make a comment? Was that
Yeah, I could
Jeff?
say something. Sure.
Jeff, let's hear.
Yeah. Read the title again, please.
Piercing the veil.
Okay, I kind of went towards the black magic route in my mind with this of he's conjuring a spell and he's creating this. So the ominous look of the smoke across his eyes, the hand movement with the blur, I think was very powerful. Really good tones throughout the skin and such. The only thing that kind of held me back, I was at 82. I'm sorry I didn't mention that. You can see that a little bit. I guess it looks like trees up on the up on the top up there. I kind of wish that was gone. Unnecessarily pulls my eye up there, but I think it's got a really neat feel to it. Again, maybe going the route I'm at least how I'm reading it. I would love to see a little more smoke on the bottom left. That would have been a little bit more of a balance, but that's kind of what I read into it. So the eyes being obscured, real quick, the eyes being obscured doesn't bother me.
I have a quick question. I'm seeing kind of ghosting on the selection under the arms. So I immediately felt like this is like a superimposition on some background. And what
I do have
do
a
you
couple
got?
of comments.
All right, Duane, let's hear
Go for
what you have to say.
Okay. Skipping the title. So I'm going the route of black magic as well, but not fully understanding the title. I just toss it aside. And I scored this a 78 because of the technicality. So we have this wonderful motion over his eyes coming throughout his hands, but I don't understand why there is such a hard line in the smoke over camera left middle finger. The trees, the hard cut in the background over his right shoulder doesn't make sense to me. And regardless of what the title is supposed to be, the blacks in this just become really muddy when you start looking under his arms. There is no definition. There are areas where the blacks are falling to gray. The area that was just pointed out where it looks to be ghosting is, in my opinion, a poor handling of the blacks there, because it looks like his jacket may have actually been warped and pushed in from the original location. And that's happening both under his right and left shoulders, or sorry, right and left arms. It just doesn't hold together from a technical aspect. And because of that, I couldn't see giving this a merit score. I think it has great potential, but that's why I'm holding it at a 78.
Yeah.
And lastly, dead center on his chest, there is a white spot that makes no sense to me.
All right.
Okay.
Well, these
Can I chime in one more thing?
Sure.
So I usually, I know that eventually things will make sense. So I'm like, I was confused when I first saw it. Now I know what one of the things that really bothered me. The area of the subject's right ear to the hand is a completely different scene. It's black, it's dark and black. There's no texture. Doesn't have any carryover from any other part of the scene. So the whole thing seems like he's superimposed on some really cool background, which could really work because it the maker got a big part of the way there, but something's going on. I don't know what the story is, but there's something with the background that's missing, and that doesn't take away that the emotion and the impact that was first captured and like was articulated here. I think this definitely can go to another level, but there's just so many little confusing details that stops the judging process to just go smoothly and go, yeah, that's where it is. And one last thing, I see this beautiful blur in his right hand, and then that blur area transitions abruptly into the background. So there's something going on. Not sure what it is, but it's not allowing me to just go, okay, here's the score, and I'm done.
Okay. Again, some really amazing comments and food for thought. We'll pierce the veil later. And we've got a few left. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right.
Lots to think about with that one. Very good.
The next image is a senior image, bubble blowing champion. Image scores a 78.
All right. I think everybody talked on that last one. So I'm going to start over with Jeff.
All right. Well, I'm at 77. Initially, the impact was very strong. It's very cute. Loved the title. And as I got looking at it, I mean, the presentation is very clean. It's just, maybe it's a little, I guess she's maybe a little too large in the scene. I always kind of feel if you're going to clip the head, cut it or not. That's just the very tip of it. So it makes it a little awkward. But I'm feeling as if the blacks in her dress are maybe just not black enough. They look a little weak. Excuse me. I know we have a redhead in that kind of skin tone in it, which is going to be a little softer in tone. But I just kind of feel like overall the exposure could be a little bit, not so much the contrast, but just the density could be a little darker. Tiny bit, but it would just give it a little more punch.
All right. Great comment.
If I may,
Sure.
I think overall, the entire right side and her face of this particular image is actually overexposed. when you look at her waist, you can actually see light bouncing off of the background and wrapping around her dress. And despite the title being the Bubble Blower Champion, there is so much light coming down onto her face as well as the bubble that you actually have to look to find the bubble, making it confusing. If the bubble was darkened down a half stop, the highlights in her face brought down between a quarter to maybe a half stop, especially on the left-hand side, I think this would carry on so much more impact. That's why I scored it a 78.
Quick
Okay.
question, you guys, do you see, and I'm seeing an artifact of something on the left about, I don't know, a couple inches in from the left key line. Is there kind of a strange,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff you got to watch for.
Yes, absolutely.
It's one of those things, once you see it, all of a sudden you can't unsee it.
Yeah, the tonality on the judge's right to the left is too much. It needs to be evened out. And definitely there's a cutout kind of feel on the judge's left when you look at the arm.
All right. Fantastic comments. We are coming down the home stretch here.
Okay.
Let's do the next one.
Next one is a photojournalism image. 5th position. Image scores an 85.
All right, congratulations. And let's see, Duane, I think you might be next on this one.
Congratulations on the maker on both a score of 85 and the amazing storytelling and choices that go into this particular photograph. Fact that you chose a small aperture to bring out the stars in the stage lights, but yet not blow the lights out so much that we lose detail anywhere, because there's detail throughout the entire theater, including the back wall. The positioning of the lights overhead all point you back to the main subject, which is actually the entire ensemble of every dancer and not just one. It is very hard to pull that off when there are multiple subjects to bring them together to form a single subject. And then we get into the blacks, which are all interesting and adds to what's going on behind stage, the areas where viewers, the audience, never gets to see. And having the leading line dead center that takes you up to the choreographer who's giving the lessons. I love the storytelling. I love the way that this was handled technically. The lighting that falls down on each and every girl, even the areas where some of the, God, I actually get to say this in public, the tutus may be blown out, but not blown out to a point to where they're distracting. This is a really cool and fun photograph to look at. And I think it's going to be a great memory for the entire cast who is putting on this performance. So congratulations.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
I think this is technically the most impressive photo of the evening, because it's a moment, perfectly captured, but it's a very wide angle lens that would typically lead to issues on the edges, which we do see a little bit, but it doesn't distract. And then you have I mean, it looks like it was shot at f/16. Like, think about that. I mean, this is a dark, space, as compared to where you normally would shoot f/16. I mean those starbursts, like it's just beautiful. So whatever lens it was a top-notch lens, shot low to give the gravitas. The highlights are covered the best they could. It's just the limit of the sensor. The darks go dark, but not too dark. This is something that a dance company would have on a billboard. This is phenomenal. And this feels real. It doesn't feel like made up. So I gave it an 85 right out of the bat. And the maker nailed this one.
Well, I got to add my 2 cents now.
Hey, we get to look at it even more. Thank you.
So what I'm
Yay.
thinking is, are you guys okay if we do this backwards? Can I challenge this now? And we've already had our conversation, because I'm at 86 and I'm looking at this and I don't know why I didn't hit 90, because everything you guys are saying and then some. I mean, we're one of the dancers. We're in the next row back here, just seeing this whole view as if we're part of this. Everything about it is just absolutely right on. And I would love to, we need to push this to another category, guys. What do you think?
Fine. Twist my arm.
I'm already there.
The only other question I have is, Duane, do you really need to be allowed to say 2-2 in public? Is that okay?
We'll see if Michelle actually bleeps it out on the YouTube posting.
So Michelle, if you're okay, I would love to call this a challenge, and then we've already done the talking, but I'm going to raise my score to 90.
Okay, then let's rescore. If everybody feels like they have their say and we've rebutted it and given it its due diligence, then we can rescore. Agree?
Okay.
As soon as Michelle's done, we can score it a 90 and move on.
Agreed.
Go for it.
Exciting. Good
Image
work.
scores a 90.
Good work.
Yes.
Good work.
Okay. Okay. Now we got to reset and move to the next.
Just 1 second. These rescores require a little more work. Okay.
That's okay. We don't mind looking at this photograph.
Right? Yeah, that's exactly it. It can stay up for a while because it's that good.
Okay. Next image is an illustrative image. Silver Heart of the Morning. Image scores an 82.
All right, congratulations. And okay, everybody talked again. So we'll go to the first one, which was Ken.
Okay. I know this place. And this is a fabulous capture. It feels there's some similar issues to the image. The image maybe 10 images ago, the landscape image, they had the entire scene was sharp, and this is kind of the same thing. And so when everything is just as sharp and then goes to the sky that's whatever distance it is away, and then it's not sharp, it's kind of it's disconcerting because we have two planes and I don't feel 3D. I feel like there's two scenes like overlap to each other. So I think whatever sharpener the maker used, they just took it a little too far. Like this is sharper than when I see a scene. I backpack a lot in the Sierras, and this is this is sharper than what I see. And so there's something in those settings. So then let's go to the foreground. The trees, there's these blacks that are in the trees. So there's some shadow issues, pretty minor, but they're there. And then this, transition to just a kind of a blurry sky. And something doesn't feel right about it. I'd say just don't go, like, I know there's all these options to go to the right, to go little by little, and then look at if you're editing this for a while, get away from it and come back, because this is like stuff I've done where I've sharpened too much, come back later and go, oh my God, what did I do? It's a little too much. So I gave it an 80. It's beautiful. But there's something that's unreal about it.
All right. Great feedback, Ken. Thank you.
Okay.
Let's see. Got a few more for tonight.
Next image is illustrative as well. Swirls in sand. Image scores a 79.
Okay, Jeff, take it away.
Yeah, I came in at 77. Interesting concept here. It definitely has a lot of movement. One of these images that I don't think it doesn't have a central or certain focal point. I think it's okay in this case. The one thing I will say that kind of helped me back from going into the merit category, though, was the beautiful patterns of swirls, these half circles. And then we have the top half of the image, which doesn't really support it with totally different patterns, and it doesn't really play into it. I would have loved to seen it cropped down just to the top of the swirls, and I think you could have had something maybe even a little more powerful.
All right. Thank you. It's
Okay.
been amazing. Oh my goodness. And we're almost done. We're wrapping it up on the home stretch here.
All right. At the penultimate image is an illustrative image. Night bloom. Image scores an 85.
All right. Congratulations. Let's see. Duane.
Coincidentally, I scored this an 85. Congratulations on making such a wonderful low-key image. It's not often that we get to see art pieces like this done in low key. The subtleties in the shadow differences is just amazing. There is still detail running around the vase on the lower right-hand side that I can clearly see. The night bloom, we have great detail, and the brightnesses are just right to bring you into each of the stamens on all three flowers. The triangle that's created adds to the power of the photograph itself. And normally people would be tempted to bring up more of the detail of the clouds all throughout. I think that subtle line running down to just off left center is enough to bring you into the photograph, so you just keep enjoying it. And when you get to the boundaries, there's just enough contrast in the whites and the shadows to bring you back into the center. To be nitpicky, I might suggest bringing down the highlights on the left-hand side of the top portion of the vase down just a bit, so they're not quite competing with the flowers themselves. Overall, it's a wonderful image. Congratulations.
I have a question for the judges.
Okay.
On the bottom, on the cup, on the bottom, on the right side, I see ghosting on the right side. And that's the only reason why I scored it less than 85. I gave it 84.
Are you talking on the where the base actually sits on the material?
Yeah, so where
Or
the
the-
bait,
Or the
so where
stem?
the above the stem to the right, on the
Okay.
cup part.
Yeah, now I see what you're talking about. Yes, I do see that.
I am
And
looking at the
and I'll add
thickness.
what
Go ahead.
I'll add one more thing. One more thing. I don't feel that the vase is perfectly set straight on the surface. It's maybe 1 degree or half a degree to the right. And it usually wouldn't be this ticky tack, but we're talking about like this thing could go way high.
Take a second look at the neck of the cup. The
Mm-hmm.
blemish
Yes.
that I see on the right-hand side, I think is actually a very light reflection of the cup. And I think it is unfortunate that part of the shadow line that we're seeing falls in line with the table. So I would encourage the maker to take a closer look and edit that to make it a little more clear to the judges. If that was a ghosting or blemish, then the thickness of the neck itself at that point of the base wouldn't make
Mhm.
sense.
Mm.
Check the horizon line to make sure that that is perfectly level. It may be off by a couple of pixels. That's all I got.
All right. That was, again, excellent. Lots and lots of feedback tonight. I hope everybody is going to love this, that we'll put it on YouTube and everybody can go back and watch. So I believe we have one more image.
Yes, this is the final image of the evening on the first round. And this is a nature landscape image. Hint of a stem.
Title again, please.
Hint of a stem.
Okay.
Image scores an 81.
All right. And Jeff, you were the high score of this one, so we'll let you
Okay.
finish.
84, and it's one of these images, the more I look at it, the more I like it. It's very brave, but it's done very well. Wonderful detail in the leaves and into the stem, and then it goes soft at the base. It disappears into the I'll say into the night, but into the white. But it's just it's a very strong fine art piece. It's one of these I can see hanging in someone's house in a 40 by 60. The fine stroke is just enough to really give it that, I guess, qualify for competition. But gosh, I just really love this. I think it's been handled very nicely. It looks a little, I don't want to say off color, but unique color, which I think makes it that much more of an abstract kind of a piece. So very nice job.
All right. Sorry, I lost my unmute for a minute there. Very good. Great way to end that.
All right, so we will go back through and we will go through the 78s and 79s just to make sure we have the accurate score. For the judges, I ask you to, if you choose to leave it in the Non-merit category, score a 79 and nothing but a 79. If you think that it is deserving of a merit, score it with an 80 and nothing but an 80.
Okay.
Okay. So the first image that we will review is Berea Falls, Cuyahoga County, Ohio. Image scores an 80. Okay.
All right. Congratulations.
Next image. Signs your family session is over. Image scores a 79. Next image, my mother Hilda. Image scores a 79. Next image, metamorphosis. Image scores a 79. Next image, Cézanne's Atelier. Image stays the same. Next image, spectacular season shift. Image stays the same. Next image, piercing the veil. Image stays the same. Next image, bubble blowing champion. Image stays the same. And last reviewed image, swirls in sand. Image stays the same. That concludes the first round of judging for this evening's competition. Okay.
All right, we're back. There we go. Well,
Okay,
after much
so-
deliberation and talking, we have exciting news.
All right, so we'll start off with the best in categories. So for the best in children, we have, if I can find it in the big group. There it is. Autumn Harvest by Jennifer Curry Wingrove.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Woohoo!
Wow. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. And then the best in digital artistry, Eerie Night by Michelle Pennings.
Right.
Woohoo.
Thank you. Yay, thank you.
So cool in the scariest of ways.
The what?
So cool in the scariest of ways.
Mm.
Oh, thanks, Dwayne.
I can see
So cool.
eyes all around there now, though.
Ooh, creepy.
And then the best in illustrative is Emerging Structure by Otto Cruz.
Audible.
Right, Otto.
So he
Otto,
can't
that's
hear any
just
of this, he can only
amazing.
see it.
You can see it in Japan.
Yeah. And then let's see, we had best in nature. Hint of a Stem by Gunnar Cruz.
Way to go, Gunner.
Super
Is
cool,
Gunner still
Gunner.
here? Yeah. Yay, Gunner's here.
I'm-
Oh, we can't
And-
hear you, Gunner.
I'm here.
Congratulations.
That's the first category one I think I ever had. So
Very
Yeah.
hey, I won category.
All right.
What?
Best in pet
Yeah. So what about it?
I won the
is
Excellent.
Light at the Sea by Alexis Heisa. And this
Alright.
is her first time entering in competition.
Congratulations, Alexa.
Hey, way
Nice
to go.
work.
Where
Love
is
this
she?
one.
I don't think she's here anymore, but
Oh, that's.
Well, that's
I
Oh,
don't
man.
know. Yay,
Uh,
Alexa.
best in photojournalism is Fifth Position by Jennifer Curry Wingrove.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Best in portrait is, where's it at? Oh, Madame Carmen
Oh my. Like
by
that.
Karen Floyd.
Love that one.
Nice,
Yay,
Karen.
Karen.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Bravo.
Congratulations.
How exciting.
And the best in seniors is Up Next at the Cotton Club by Melanie Robertson.
Woohoo!
Congratulations, Melanie.
Thank you.
And that's all the category winners. So who's going to give me a drum roll? Nobody.
I'm drumming.
Working on it. Working on it.
All right. And the best in show for the final image competition of 2023 for professional photographers of San Diego County is Fifth Position by Jennifer Curry Wingrove.
Thank you.
Yay.
Nice.
Good work, Jennifer.
We love that one. Absolutely love that
Oh,
one.
thank you. I do too.
I hope so.
Sorry that I
Ken.
scored it so low, but I came around.
Appreciate that, Ken. Thank
I
you.
think should we
I was so
rescore
wrong.
it and get it up there to 95?
Oh man.
I was so
Wow.
wrong. Tail between my legs.
Jennifer, you actually should seriously consider photographing dancers on a regular basis.
Yeah. Thank you, Dwayne.
Jack, you want to tell us about that one, Jennifer?
Yeah, I was actually talking to everyone about it. So you know,
Yeah,
I've
do
got
we have the image to show?
No, switch it up.
oh, it's weird. I'm seeing it up on the
It's on the
yeah, just not on the Zoom.
Zoom isn't
Oh.
refreshing
Oh,
quickly.
Because I'm not getting it on print.
Oh, there it is.
there it is.
Okay,
It's on
there we
print
go.
now.
Okay, now tell us about it.
Yeah, so they were truly rehearsing. And instead of taking pictures from the front, I thought it would be more interesting from the back, which is a view that I'm used to seeing as a retired dancer myself. But I know a lot of people don't get to see that perspective. And I really find the stage itself a really interesting subject. I always have. There's so much going on back there that you guys don't usually see. So not only are you able to see the dancers, the rehearsal director, but also, you know, the other big subject, which is the stage. And I was super excited when the lights came out as little stars like that. So yeah, I mean, the whole thing is just, it's definitely a moment that I think resonates in the picture. That I love to tell. It's a story I love to tell. So thank you.
No, I think we even commented on the fact that you were able to make the catwalk look pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yep. You see that. That's cool.
Oh, wow. Well,
Did
this is
you and
nice.
did you pick a particular aperture to get those Starburst, like that's
The
so
lens
beautiful.
that I use, and I'm pretty sure, I want to say it was my 24-70. I don't think it was my 16-35. I have to go back and look now. Tends to do that when
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
which
so
I
beautiful.
I love that.
It's
Uh,
it changes from what clients say, oh, can you get rid of that, to, oh, that's so beautiful. Like
Yeah.
it's really, it's one of the few things in modern lenses that's
Yes.
actually worth it. Everything, like all lenses are sharp now, but
Right.
that's an attribute that wows clients.
I'm glad you appreciate that because I love it too.
Well, it turned, like, as you know, judges were like, oh, the highlights, oh my God. But when we see that, it's like, oh, beautifully treated.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We all envy you for taking this. This looks so beautiful.
I love my job. I get to travel with this group. I get to, there's 3 things involved that I love the most, which is ballet as a retired ballerina, photography, and travel. And I feel so blessed to be able to take those images and to be able to share them.
Nicely done.
Really well done.
Oh, very good. Well, I want to thank all of our judges and Dan and everybody that worked so hard to make this image comp work, and the whole year. And now Dan's going to be up for 3 days straight, tallying everything and getting it all ready. But oh my goodness, yes. And the judges, so much to say, such great feedback. We really, really appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time and looking at all of our images, and really with such a critical and skilled eye. So it was really great.
I learned
hope
a lot.
everybody
Yeah.
appreciated it.
So much.
Good. Glad to hear that. Glad to help.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to turn off the recording.